It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is, of course, RATT with Eat Me Up Alive. And that comes from the last release, Infestation. And good stuff from RATT. They were planning on a second release from the RATT lineup, but unfortunately things came apart before they did their second release. And last time we had Stephen Pearcy on the show, he said that even though the band had broken up, that he wasn't opposed to recording a new record with the band, but somehow that I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think that's going to happen, and it's too bad, too, because those songs that Stevens put out sounded kind of radish.
Yeah, absolutely, and that last record, Infestation, that was just a killer.
Well, unless you ask Jason Green.
He didn't think that was good?
Jason Green didn't, no. He said Infestation was horrible. He said it was the worst record he ever heard.
Really?
On our show, he said that.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to that, because I thought Infestation was a good record.
He said it was crap. I thought it was really good.
I thought it was too, but
he said it was crap.
Who are we to say? We're just the Classic Metal Show guys.
Yeah, well, apparently we're the Blotzer guys now.
Well, apparently a fan of RATT, I guess Juan Croucier, former RATT bassist. How does he bill himself? As the second vocalist of RATT?
Or one of the voices of RATT.
Yeah, one of the voices of RATT or whatever.
The other voice of RATT.
The other voice of RATT. There you go. Juan, obviously he backed Stephen Pearcy, much like Jeff Pilson did with Dokken or with Michael Anthony from Van Halen.
Right.
They kind of had that signature backing vocal that backed the lead singer.
Right.
And, since the demise of RATT almost 2 years ago, Juan has been going out as the other voice of RATT. He assembled a band, and I guess he's out there playing some RATT tunes.
Right.
And, of course, we had Jason Green on the show a couple of weeks ago, former co-manager of RATT, who came on and basically bashed Bobby Blotzer for putting together another lineup, calling it RATT, which has been kind of the news on the Classic Metal Show for the last couple of weeks.
Sure.
Well, Juan and his band played a show at the Whiskey in Hollywood last week, I think. It was about a week ago. And a fan basically filmed or recorded Juan signing all of his RATT albums and his Dokken Breaking the Chains album out in front of the Whiskey. And one of the things that was inspired by the Classic Metal Show, the RATT Lives Matter, and I say inspired because Chris and I did not actively do anything with it.
No.
Our fans took it upon themselves, Nathan from Kentucky, to start a Twitter page, RATT Lives Matter.
Right.
And this fan who spoke with Juan outside of the Whiskey asked him if he was aware of the RATT's Lives Matter.
Right.
And Juan commented very briefly
about
that he was aware of it. So here's the audio of Juan talking with this fan as he's signing his records, and the fan asking him if he knows about the RATT Lives Matter.
Right.
Oh, that's cool. How nice. Okay, you want me just to sign him?
Yeah, just sign him. I'm so bummed I forgot my Breaking the Chains record. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. There you go, brother.
You got it.
Okay, Steve. See you in a little while.
You got it.
Thanks for everything.
Absolutely. I've been telling Don for years to get Juan back.
Oh, Don and I are still friends.
Yeah, I know. He told me the other day. Cody, I think he's just after real quick. Yeah. Have you heard of the RATT's Lives Matter?
Yes, it is freaking hilarious.
I was gonna draw a sign and everything, but I was in such a hurry to get out
so
here.
Funny.
So I'm rocking out my RATT's Lives Matter. No Juan, no RATT. No Stephen, no RATT. No
It's funny because I saw it when they first made that thing, and I thought, I thought it was just kind of a little spoof, kind of a joke, you know. And then, okay, cool. You don't want me to sign this?
Yeah, I do. I'm not gonna play it. Just walking.
Want me to put it on out here or in here?
You can wherever you want.
So that it's hard to make it all out.
Yeah.
But basically, that's the guy asked him if he was aware of the RATT Lives Matter.
Right.
And he says, yeah, I first saw it and I thought it was a goof and, what those guys were doing. And I thought it was really funny. And, but he's outside the Whiskey there on Sunset Boulevard.
Right.
And signing this guy's vinyls and stuff, But, Juan, I've run into Juan on 2 or 3 occasions and he's always been very nice. Mm-hmm. And, we'll take pictures and sign autographs and he's just kind of hanging out,
Yeah. And believe me, I love that this guy asked the RATT Lives Matter question, but he's doing the exact thing that we always hammer on guys for doing. Showed up with 15 records to sign.
He did. He had a whole stack of vinyls.
Yep.
And Juan was very cool about signing every one of them.
I mean, he literally in the video, I think he signed 6 things. That's too much.
Yeah.
But
he's up there signing them against the wall and signing his vinyls. And this guy's, talking to him about his time in Dokken, which he really never recorded anything with Dokken.
Right.
He was on the cover, his picture, but he didn't actually record with Dokken. That was Peter Baltus of Accept.
Right.
But, he very early on in the very early Dokken lineup, Don had selected Juan to be the bassist. Mm-hmm. And he played a couple of shows with them, but then he went and joined RATT.
Yeah. That was probably a good move for him, too, don't you think?
Sure it was, because RATT was happening at that time and Dokken hadn't gotten their deal yet.
And I think in the biggest picture, RATT probably made more money, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because first of all, they had more records.
They had more records. They got more exposure. They got more arena tours. I mean, Dokken, they're no slouch. I mean, they opened for Aerosmith. They opened for AC/DC.
Sure.
But by the time that Back for the Attack came out, they were right on the cusp of being a headlining arena band.
Right.
And that's when they broke up. Mm-hmm. When the whole Monsters of Rock thing came along, they were right on the cusp of just about being a headliner.
Yeah, because they had Dream Warriors and everything else.
Yeah. They were going to be arena headliner, and that's when everything came apart.
Yep.
So they were just inches away from being a national arena act headliner.
Right.
As to where RATT actually had become a headliner.
Fucking Don and George.
Yeah, more or less.
They ruined it.
Because Back for the Attack sold 1 million copies in 2 weeks.
Right.
That's how big they were. Mm-hmm. And they were just about ready to, be the biggest act in hard rock at that time. And it all just fell apart. Well, I remember being at the mall when that record came out, and I was just like, holy shit, you got that new Back for the Attack yet? I bought it on vinyl.
Right.
I remember distinctly, at the record, I think it was a Sam B. Goody, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And I bought it at the mall record store.
I know I got it in Korea at the PX, and I bought it. And I rocked it. I mean, I was like, fuck yeah, this is so good.
Yep. I must have played and I still have it here. I played the shit out of that record.
Gotta say, though, didn't hold up for me. I mean, I like it still, but it is definitely of what I would call the classic era, which is the first 4 records.
Yeah, of course.
It's definitely my least played of I guess Breaking the Chains, which I just despise, but of the 3 that I like, Tooth and Nail, that one, and Under Lock and Key, that's my least.
Yeah, Under Lock and Key was just like the mega hit.
Yeah, I love that record.
Yeah. But, even with the first 4, Breaking the Chains, Tooth and Nail, Under Lock and Key, and Back for the Attack, I'm still a Dysfunctional guy.
Yeah, Dysfunctional.
I love Dysfunctional. Love that album.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
And I don't know if it's because I'm older or because it's more, it has more depth, or I don't know what it is, but that record just resonates with me even to this day. I love that record.
Love it too. I would say it's probably, for me, it's probably third. For me, it would be Under Lock and Key, then Tooth and Nail, then Dysfunctional.
Yeah. Well, when I was out on my run this week, I listened to Under Lock and Key.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you're doing 3 miles,
yeah,
you don't realize how short that record is.
Yeah.
Because it didn't last me the whole 3 miles.
It's only, 33 minutes?
Well, it's a little longer than that, but still, it didn't last me the whole run.
Okay.
So I was just like, but it had a good pace to it, because when I'm out on the trail, the beat of the music I will synchronize my pace to the beat of the music, which, often makes the run a little bit better.
Right. And,
that there's a lot of good up-tempo tunes to that, you can run to the pace.
Mm-hmm.
But, love Dysfunctional. And see, Steve in the chat room says Dysfunctional is the best.
Yep. A lot of people I love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say it's a crummy record or anything. I do love it. I just like the other two a little bit more.
See, Kendall Peters, Song Structures Above and Beyond Radio.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good record.
I love that record. All right. Well, speaking of RATT, you sent me over something. I know that you told me what it was, but I'm going to let you elaborate a little bit more about it.
Sure.
Our friends over there in Akron, over at Maximum Threshold. Now, where were they? Did Stephen come through Cleveland or something, or did these guys go somewhere?
He must have come through Cleveland, and I just don't know about
I wasn't aware that he was playing Cleveland, but okay.
Yeah, and the way this even ended up in my hands in the first place was Dom over there at Maximum Threshold just hit me up out of the blue today. And, it was, one of those, hey, what's up type of a posts. And we were chatting back and forth, and he said, you've got to hear Pearcy's band talking about what they're about to talk about. I don't know if you want me to say it or you want to wait.
Yeah, you go ahead and say it.
Talking about how they want to send Blotzer a bag of frozen dicks.
Okay.
And I was like, what? And he's like, you got to hear this audio. And I was like, you got to send me that audio, like, immediately. I have to hear this. So he sent me the audio, and it's Michael. You know Michael.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Strong, in a room just sitting with those guys. And he starts talking to them, and they start talking about how they want to send a bag of or a bowl of frozen dicks.
Yeah, and the thing is I didn't know if that Stephen was playing anywhere near Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't know when this was.
Yeah, so as you're well aware, I've been trading emails back and forth with Stephen for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, those Monday interviews have not quite happened.
And he's just like, yeah, let's do this thing. Let's do an interview. And I don't know what's going on with him. I really don't. It's just the strangest thing. Right. I know that he plays a lot of, fly-in gigs, and, he's in and out real quick, and he's promoting his own band and all this. And he played at M3 last week.
Right.
And he played a couple of Canadian shows, stuff like that. And, Steven's out there doing stuff, and we trade emails. It's just kind of very sporadic with him.
Sure.
But the thing is when we get Steven on the show, I mean, he's usually really funny.
Right.
Actually, Serena was saying that she was listening to one of her older interviews with Steven, and she said that Steven was really funny. Because a lot of the time, when we've had Steven on the show, I often play that, "Oh God, that's great."
Sure.
And, he'll say, "And it is," stuff like that. but Stephen is just kind of a, I don't know how to even explain him, but he's got a good band, and they play the RATT tunes.
Sure.
But then they play some of his solo stuff, and I Can't Take It here on the show, periodically, because I think that's just a fantastic RATT style song.
Right. I
mean, I played it today, as a matter of fact. It was like, man, that is just like RATT without being RATT.
Sure.
And of course, Beau Hill is involved with the production.
Mm-hmm.
And if he keeps going that direction, I mean, that's a good direction for Stephen.
Sure.
Because it's very Stephen, very quintessential Stephen, very RATT sounding.
Mm-hmm.
And I like what he's doing, and I like the direction he's taken. But your friends over there at Maximum Threshold, apparently hooked up with Stephen's band.
Yeah, it's not Stephen, it's the band.
It's the band. So that would be Ferrantino.
Yeah. Isn't D'Angelo in that band now?
Mm-hmm. So somehow your friends over there at Maximum Threshold know the guys in the band.
Yeah.
And they talk to them about Bobby Blotzer.
Yeah.
So here's the guys from Maximum Threshold out of Akron, Ohio.
Right.
Speaking to Stephen Pearcy's band.
Right.
Oh, Payo! That's a good one. One of the girls I'm here with is actually really good friends with Bobby and his wife. And she actually said, if you're going to talk to Stephen, she's like, I have a message from Bobby. And it wasn't like malicious or anything. I'm like, well, I'll see if I do talk to him. I'll see what kind of mood he's in, because I don't want to start any trouble. I don't want to get beat up by his band, and next thing you know, I'm on the gay website getting fisted by all the bodyguards here.
Man. I wanted to send Bobby like a bowl of frozen dicks.
Frozen dicks. Where do you buy those?
But it was just exactly. It was a logistic issue. Logistics. I was like, I don't know where to get the dicks. I know how to freeze them, and I have a bowl. But I don't know how to get him the bowl of
like one of those
dicks to eat.
Since you're into like the 70s porn, one of those like the grandma used to have the giant light green Tupperware bowl that you push your finger in the middle. That's probably the perfect bowl for freezing dicks.
So is that the perfect bowl for freezing dicks?
I never knew there was a perfect bowl for freezing dicks.
Well, I've said this before on the show, and Louis C.K. Said this on one of his comedy specials about he cut a guy off in traffic.
Right.
And the guy pulled up next to him and rolled down the window and said, "Eat a bag of dicks."
Right.
And he explained to, the audience that, well, what form would the dicks take? Would it be like Italian bread sticking out of a bag where you eat them all at once? So sending Blotzer a bowl of frozen dicks, what would be the message there?
I don't know. Why are you trying to add rationale to this?
Again, it's just like, when people think about these things, it's like, you know what? I'd like to send that guy a bowl of frozen dicks.
Right.
And you go, man, that would be great.
How would that work?
So here we go.
Yes.
Right.
Now, are these dicks,
I should be taking notes right now.
Are these dicks with or without?
Well, they don't have to be human dicks.
Oh, I thought we were talking real.
They could be. I don't care.
Because I was wondering.
I'm just going to use tongs. I'm just going to use tongs to put them in the bowl, and then I'm going to freeze them in my freezer. And I need his address if anybody has it.
With or without the.
And then I need to know what the quickest way. If I use FedEx or UPS.
FedEx, because they deliver on Saturdays.
Oh,
no FedEx.
Good call.
So, like, Bex is, you're avoiding the question: with or without testicles attached?
Without.
With or without testicles attached.
Fucking Michael is hysterical.
So again, he's got this whole visual going on.
Right.
I'll send you this bowl of dicks.
Right.
But do we have balls attached?
Some
just
people,
pure dick.
Some people
pure
like, eat the potato peel when they have a baked potato. Some people don't. Some people like the shrimps with the tails on them. Some people don't.
I think he's watching.
So he's equating to testicles connected to dicks as skin on a potato or tails on a shrimp.
Yes.
Okay. It's quite a leap.
It could be whatever the biggest ones we can find.
Available on StephenPearcy.com. Not Stephen.
The biggest ones we can find.
Right.
Well, at least he would get his money's worth.
Yeah, he certainly would.
You know what? I'm not sending you the shrimp. I'm sending you the jumbo shrimp.
Yeah. What would that be? Like ox cock?
Yeah. I'm sending you the biggest dicks we can find.
Right.
Okay?
/Pearcy.com.
It could be horse dicks for all I care.
Those are big.
Oh, hey, look who's walking in. We got Chris Hager.
Oh, sorry.
No, come on. We're doing an interview.
We're talking about sending a bowl of dicks.
Yeah, we're going to send Blotzer a bowl of frozen dicks to eat.
All right.
Look at Nathan in Kentucky. He's got a bowl of dicks.
There's a bowl of dicks
in the chat room.
That is absolutely disturbing.
It is. Look, a bowl of dicks. So Chris Hager is jumping in on the chat with a bowl of dicks.
That's right.
Count me in, man.
So he won't eat with or without balls. If you're going to send dicks, what do?
I said ball free.
You said ball free? Yeah, I'll go with ball free.
Yeah. Ball free. Eating them dicks.
All right. Okay, so let's ask actually one or two music-related questions.
All right.
We'll get back to the bowl of dicks. Because, like, lately I've been thinking about sending people buckets of rotten, sun-dried, putrid assholes.
Ah.
So...
Have you thought that, Chris? I mean, I understand that sometimes you're a vile guy, but you would say, you know what? I need to send somebody a whole box of sun-dried putrid assholes.
No, I have not thought that. This was the first time that thought ever crossed my mind.
Okay. So dicks and assholes would be the thing to send to somebody to send a message.
Yes.
What's the message? I hate you?
It's gotta be. It can't be.
I think you're an awful person.
It's certainly not a term of endearment.
Okay.
But they're not frozen. But so like a frozen bowl of dicks might be working. So are
like
you
jerkified, jerky buttholes?
Yeah, but it would still like stink like it was fucking stewed and like, you know, when maggots get in there and it smells.
Okay, I just had dinner.
So this guy is just wanting to send rotten flesh.
Rotten flesh.
These are your friends?
Sure.
Okay.
You don't find this funny. I love it.
Well, I think it's funny that he would broach the subject.
That's what he does all the time.
Sure he does.
So funny.
Okay.
It wasn't a bucket of assholes.
No, it was
a bucket of assholes. You could send a bowl of dicks or a bucket of assholes.
Right.
I could see that at Costco. Bowl of dicks, bucket of assholes.
Or combine them both, only $59.99.
Right. You could have it could be like a canister, like, you know, the different flavored popcorns. They're
Right.
just like separated. You got like the cheese corn on one side and the caramel corn on the other side.
Yep.
You could have the frozen dicks on one side and a bucket of assholes on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it all comes in one tin canister.
Right.
It was cool. We're at M3. We'll stop talking about dicks for a second.
It's going somewhere.
Let's skip to what's happening today. Like we were in the catering and it was like a school lunchroom, but all
right. So I'm gathering that they went to the M3.
Yeah. Okay.
Which was last weekend.
That's probably it.
So they traveled to Maryland.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough.
There you go. And talked about dicks.
Yeah. We would like to send. Well, see, that I don't get that, because if Blotzer wasn't being a dick, as they phrased it,
yeah,
these guys would not have a job, because Stephen would be fronting RATT.
True.
And these guys would not have a gig.
Very true.
Because without Stephen, these guys don't have a gig. And if Stephen was fronting RATT, they wouldn't be doing anything.
Unless Blotz has said something.
True. If he said something negative about them.
Right. And that's maybe in the world of possibility.
Sure.
I don't know that to be true, but that would make me think that that's why they have a case of the ass with Bobby.
Okay, whatever. So, I don't know. Have you seen Stephen solo?
Ever?
Yes.
Yes.
Where did you see him?
Billy's Club. The old club, the
Revolution?
Revolution. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that it was these guys, though. I think it was one of the, Steven's RATT.
Well, some of those guys were in that.
Were they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was Steven's RATT. It wasn't the RATT Bastards.
I've seen Steven 3 times.
Okay.
Solo.
Right.
I've seen RATT God knows how many times.
I don't know, 20 or whatever.
All right. But Stephen, obviously being the voice of RATT.
Mm-hmm.
I love to see the band RATT with D. Martini and, the rest of the guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you and I have seen them together, obviously. We were in Wisconsin on the side of the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just enjoying the shit out of that show.
Yeah, they were great.
I've seen them several times as RATT.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen Stephen several times as Stephen's RATT Bastards or Stephen Pearcy solo or whatever you want to call him.
Right. Sure.
And he performs RATT songs and he performs Pearcy solo songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed both. I would prefer to see RATT.
Sure.
But I would go see Pearcy solo as well because he performs the RATT songs.
Yeah.
And he performed at M3 last week.
Okay.
Did you see any of the video at all?
I did watch a little of it.
How was it? I didn't get to see it.
Oh, great.
Really?
He's kind of, I don't know. There's a lot of comments on the videos that I saw that he was just kind of going through the motions and being lazy. And I don't know that I would necessarily say that was untrue.
Okay.
He didn't sound Simpalo awful.
Yeah, that was not a good show.
But he was just kind of, I don't know. It didn't have that punch or whatever that when Steven's on it has. It was very flat. I mean, you can look them up on YouTube, dude. They're right there.
Okay. Well, let's see. Stephen Pearcy M3 Rockfest on the 30th, June 16th. May. Let's listen. All right. I know this video doesn't translate to audio.
Mm-hmm.
He looks very lethargic.
Yeah, like he's just going through the motions.
Tired.
Yeah.
He looks very tired.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's play a little. The band is trying to perform, but Steven looks like, he's like,
It's 2:00. Why am I playing?
Yeah. All right, I'm going to play a little more.
All right.
Not good.
It's not that good.
He was playing Back for More, but it was like slow.
Yeah.
Not good.
You want to play the game?
Okay.
Play this one.
Let's play this. Well, the only thing I'll say about that, it was more up tempo.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, Josh sounded a little better.
Yeah. Stephen was just like in slow motion.
Yeah, just not on it.
Gotta wonder what's going on there.
Or if you believe the rumors, you know what's going on.
Yeah. I know.
We've heard a lot of rumors.
Yeah.
There might be some shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's not true.
Well, again, it's just, here's Stephen Pearcy at M3.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing Wanted Band.
Yeah.
Let's play a little of this.
How the fuck you guys doing today? Good? All right. I believe you were here not too long ago, something like that. All right. So you say? Aaron? Well, how the fuck you guys doing over here tonight? All right, bear with me, I have a fucked up knee here. Are we ready, boys? No. All right, cowboys and cowgirls.
Well, I'm going to say that his band
Good.
is not bad.
No, his band's fine.
Stephen just seems like he's moving in slow motion or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just don't get that.
He does not sound very good.
Mm-mm. Helen Killcaller, you're on the air. I guess they're gone. But, yeah, he's just like kind of like on slow motion or something.
Yep.
But his band is solid.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, again, for you fans, I have really been trying to get Steven on the show.
Right.
But he's just been so sporadic in his replies.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, let's do it now. Let's do it this. Let's do it that. And when I say, let's go, okay, let's do this, then it's gone. So eventually we'll get Steven on the show.
Right.
That's all I can tell you. All right. Moving away from RATT.
Thank you.
Helen Killcaller, you're on the air.
You know what's really striking about this whole thing?
What's that?
We're talking in 2016 about RATT.
Yeah, it is interesting that after almost 40 years, that RATT is still hanging on.
Yeah, and this is what it's come down to. 3 versions of RATT. And be honest, this is a band that really hasn't meant shit in 25 years.
Well, Chris and I saw RATT 2 years ago. We were with them, literally with them 2 years ago. Right. And they were really good. I mean, they could have done something, I would say, relevant. I did like Infestation, and when they did perform, they performed very well. But they're hit and miss, and that's the inconsistency and, of course, the infighting is the problem. But if they were out there as a touring entity, as a the original lineup or as close to the original lineup as you can get, I think they could still be very viable. But unfortunately, because of the infighting and the egos and the problems and whatnot, it's just become a joke.
Yeah, it has. And it's not even the first time. They went through that round of jokiness for 10 years before the Infestation even came out.
I agree.
This has become the norm for RATT.
Yeah, but see, when they get it together, they can do really well. But unfortunately, those moments are far and few in between. And
as time goes on, they take up more and more of the band's career.
I agree. And
the heyday is, all 3 of us like Infestation. It's a great record. I mean, for an 80s band putting out a record in 2010, it's a great record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree. Does it stand up with, Out of the Cellar? No, not really. But in the circumstances that it came out, yeah, it's great.
I might argue that it's as good as anything except for Out of the Cellar. It's a damn good record, man. I mean, it's definitely better than Reach for the Sky or Dancing Undercover or Detonator.
That's true. But the band, RATT themselves had a pretty steep fall after those first two records, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and Infestation, I'll say, out of 11 songs, I think 9 of them are good to great. So, but again, it almost seems like it was a, if I may use a Jeff Tate word here, Herculean effort to get that thing out, It's like it took everything out of them to get that damn thing out. And once it was done, and once the victory lap was over, they reverted to their old shit.
Yeah.
And it's sad because, these guys are in their mid-50s and, that life has passed them by. And they could have a viable career if they could keep it together, but we all know that that's not the case. And that makes me sad because I am a RATT fan. I love RATT. I've seen them numerous times. Obviously, we've become somewhat acquainted with some of the guys in the band, and it's just sad to see that they can't keep it together enough to go out there and go, you know what, we're going to continue as a touring entity. We'll record a record, even though Chris and I are both in agreement that records these days are irrelevant, but we'll record something now and again, and
at the very least, they don't need to do a record. They can do
I
one
agree.
If they want to, if they have ideas for songs, they can do them. But they don't have to do them anymore.
True. And they could put on a great show because they can put on a great show. I've seen them many times in the recent past, and it's like, damn, that was a good show. And then I've seen them where it's just like, what the hell happened? But again, drugs, infighting, dysfunction, whatever it is, it always just seems to creep in there and just kill the whole thing.
Yeah, and they were probably in their peak. They were probably one of the most visible personalities, really, and one of the most popular bands in their time.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I like those guys on a personal basis because, I've had the fortune of getting to know some of them on a personal basis, and they're very nice people. I mean, they've always been cool to me. That's all I can say about that. But to see them just disintegrate like that, it's just like, oh, man, why can't you just get it together and just go out there and do what you do?
I mean, they're basically having the same kinds of dumb bullshit go on that some C-lister like Bang Tango was having.
Yeah.
They can't capitalize on that popularity that they had, to keep up some kind of semblance of a viable career. Separately, they're going to be playing the same dumps that Bang Tango plays. When together, they could at least be doing casinos.
True.
And rib festivals or whatever.
Well, I've seen them recently. Well, I shouldn't say recently. At least within the last 2 years, they played in front of like 20,000 people. I watched them open for the Scorpions.
Is that total for the 2 years?
No. I'm talking about I saw them open up for the Scorpions.
Who, RATT?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
I saw them open for Scorpions, and we saw them in front of Van Halen, which was 40,000 people.
And which the opening gig for the Scorpions was something they were very lucky to get, by the way.
I agree. But the thing is that they were viable at the time to get that gig.
Yeah. And now, that other band that Jeff Tate used to be in was Torn McQueen's.
Right.
Scorpions.
Well, I saw that show too, and they were fantastic.
We won't tell what's his name about that.
No, we won't talk about that, but I will tell you that the version that I did see was absolutely fantastic.
Because they treat it like a professional thing, even despite 2 years of ridiculousness. They're back on track now, and RATT is just stupid to see them behaving like 20-year-old morons.
More or less, it's sad. I agree, and I can't speak for Chris, but from a personal standpoint, just as a fan, it's like, why can't you get your shit together? Really? I mean, seriously, you're spending an hour to 90 minutes on a stage. You can't keep it together that long. Seriously?
It's really, it's kind of a bummer, but at the same time, you know what though? Quite honestly, I don't want them to stay. I don't want them to stay together if they can't. I'd rather they just put it away.
Right, I agree.
I don't want to see Bobby Blotzer's RATT, and to be honest, if Steven's going to sound like what you just played, I don't want to see Stephen Pearcy's RATT Bastards.
I agree with that too.
I'd rather him just put it away and let me live off of the memories from 1988. I just want to
remember these bands as they were. I don't want to go see Guns N' Roses. I wouldn't go see Guns N' Roses this summer if you gave me tickets. Because I'd rather time trip back to 1988 and remember it as it was.
Yeah. I hear you. I'm with you.
It's this bullshit that makes me not give a fuck about these old bands anymore. Mm-hmm. Whether it's through these kind of silly antics like RATT, or whether it's just plain subpar music like Tesla. I don't give a fuck about them anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you. Or Scorpions.
Yeah.
Well, last time I saw Scorpions last fall, they were fantastic.
I'm sure they were, but I'm saying, but what Doghouse was saying though about music?
Oh yeah, from a recording standpoint, But I'm telling you, the live show that I saw last fall was absolutely fantastic. Probably the best I've ever seen.
Well, and
I'm
that's
glad
great.
to hear that because I love Scorpions too, and you know that they're one. They always struck me, with the exception of Eye to Eye, as being, even when they weren't great, they were just a classy band.
Yeah, but dude, they haven't really done a great record since what? Savage Amusement?
I'm going to say Face the Heat.
Face the Heat? Oh, Doghouse. Come on.
That's their last decent record, I'll say. No, you know what? Okay, I actually liked Crazy World a lot. It's like my third favorite Scorpions album. Whistling and all.
I don't hate that one, but...
Okay. Face the Heat, I like.
Face the Heat. Ugh. I'm just thinking of all the, the Return to Forever and...
Sure.
All
that. Then they kind of wandered in the woods for 10 years. Unbreakable was pretty good. Then the rest of it was...
What's the other one? Human Hour #1 or something?
That was the first, them sinking back into mediocrity. But Unbreakable had some good songs on it. But, I mean, they just struck me as a classy organization. They were professional. They didn't do this dumb bullshit that RATT's doing. Basically, RATT's been fuck-ups all along, and it's now dominating their career, and they don't have anything else to back it up with except songs that were hits 30 years ago.
Right. Well, Scorpions too. The thing that they've had is they have not had constant. They haven't had Klaus carrying on the torch either. It's always been, not always, but for the successful portion of their career, it was always those three guys. Matthias and Rudy and Klaus. So they haven't had this crazy turnover. And they've gotten lucky, too. I mean, this whole thing with James Contact falling apart, and that just, they seem to be Teflon to it.
Yeah. And as far as the rumors about Pearcy goes, if you read his book, which is actually pretty entertaining, but he talks about smoking heroin since the mid-'90s. And, he goes through the whole story about rehab and how he was, sparking the owl the whole time Infestation was being recorded. And, even the first rehearsals with the band, getting back together, he was on the nod the entire time and all this stuff. He talks about going to rehab and quitting and facing his demons and all that shit. But he sounds so half-hearted about it.
Right. He just needed to fill pages.
Yeah, it's like he's just saying the things that he needs to say to get through the, to get the gig or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Who would have ever thought that Dave Mustaine would be more stable than anybody else?
I know, Jesus Christ.
I mean, for God's sakes, that guy was like strung out on heroin when he was 22, and now he's like the one guy that just consistently. And again, you don't have to like every album that he does, but he's consistently still putting out decent music and shows up for his gigs. And even though he replaces
still does his job,
Huh?
He still does his job.
Yeah, he still does it and does it fairly well.
Yeah.
He's showing some age, but hard to argue that the Dystopia is a bad record. It's one of the best they've done in forever.
Yeah. Dystopia is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I expected nothing from it, but it's great.
Yeah, it is.
The riffs will cut your head off.
Mm-hmm. Who would have ever thought that they would musically pass Metallica, and they've left them in the dust?
Oh, hell yes. And that should please Dave greatly, because after all the time he spent paddling after them.
Yeah, well, that is true, too.
But then we got RATT, and it's like, who gives a fuck anymore, They're
right.
a bad bar band. And all three versions are just bad bar bands.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Well, I would like to see the entity of RATT, pull it together, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I think you've already had your one more time.
I agree. And I'm glad I saw them 2 years ago, because they were spot on at that point. But boy, that deteriorated quickly.
Yeah, I think it's like you guys always say. If you want to see one of your old favorite bands, do it now, because there ain't going to be many more chances.
I agree.
And sure enough, it's coming true. So that's where we're at now.
Winding down to a close.
Yep. Unfortunately, I mean, there's plenty of new tunes to keep me occupied from, other bands that that aren't 60 years old.
Right.
But at the same time, it's nothing that's easily available. You got to dig for it, and it'd be in a tiny fire trap club, But that's what it is. If I can sit in my house and enjoy something on headphones, then that's what I'm going to do. I don't need to listen to. I don't need to try to force myself to like the next Babylon AD record or something.
Right. Well, but the sad part too is even the newer bands. At Doghouse, you and I were emailing back and forth about this week.
Yeah.
Even some of our newer bands are starting to play lazy. Like we Doghouse and I, Neely, and I don't know if you've heard this record or not, but we were talking about the new Texas Hippie Coalition record.
Okay.
Absolutely boring. Just bleh.
Yeah.
It's like what
I
happened?
I think theirs is kind of a formula that could wear thin over time anyway. So maybe it's just outlived its usefulness.
Yeah, maybe, but that record is dull.
Yeah, but I kind of thought the last one was kind of dull too.
Yeah, I didn't listen to that one a whole ton to get bored with it, I guess. But I mean, are there still bands that are out there producing? Sure, there are. There's definitely I like the Blackstone Cherry record a lot. And I know some people. I don't think you do, Doghouse, but I love that record, and I love the Metal Church record, and the new Death Angel.
I like the Blackstone Cherry, but I think Magic Mountain was better. It grabbed me more quickly. It had catchier songs to my ears.
Yeah.
I love Magic Mountain, but the new one is okay. It's good, but it seems like a step back to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I could listen to the Rambler 100 times in a row, and I'm good. I like that tune.
You like those tearjerker pussy ballads?
I do. I'm a pussy. I admit it.
Faggot.
It's actually one of the better songs on it. But I guess my tastes are supposed to get softer as I grow older, but they're actually getting harder.
Right. I find myself like this week, for whatever reason, my drive to Pittsburgh this last week, I listened to a bunch of Amorphous records that I just hadn't listened to, and I listened to like 8 Amorphous albums this week.
Wow.
really like all of a sudden immersing myself in that. God knows why. I wanted something I hadn't listened to before. And they're good. And I was like, okay, cool. That's something.
It's maybe softer musically, but it's heavier in spirit than, other stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's, and the early Amorphous stuff was like death metal. So I like that.
Yeah, true. Are you into November's Doom at all?
They're a little boring for me, like slow. Not boring, but slow.
Well, I guess that's kind of their whole thing, but I've been seriously into doom metal lately.
Yeah, I like some of that stuff.
It'd make a normal person want to put their head in the oven.
Yeah, that or Catatonia or any of those bands. Ugh.
Yeah, the wrist-slitting stuff.
Yeah, that stuff is a little slow for me.
It's stuff I want to like for just being something different, but it's not something I put on, sitting in the backyard on a Saturday afternoon or something.
Yeah, that's the stuff that, like you said, that's the stuff that you put on when you're going to commit suicide. So that you can just fade away with it.
Yeah, so I'm just waiting for the new Devil Driver and some other cool stuff down the road.
I might be able to hook you up with that one.
Oh, I got it coming in the mail anyway. I already pre-ordered it.
Oh, it's worth it. It's very good, no matter what Mr. Tate says.
He probably listens to Annie DeFranco. All right, then, gentlemen.
All right, hail and kill, Doghouse.
Fuck you, pal.
There he goes.
There he goes.